apps have got eavesdropping.
Right.
They are reading into your phones, right? There are devices which are tracking more than they're supposed to.
Right.
There are cases of Alexa eavesdropping on people, right? That is what it has come to.
Thank you for finding us. Like us, you are the growing gang of curious people, keen to understand what the future holds. I, Eddie Avil, am the host of Change I Am Possible podcast, a platform and a community for disruptors, innovators, entrepreneurs, policy change makers, impact investors, dreamers, and the engineers who are working on building a tomorrow. My effort will be to probe and ask the most contextual and relevant questions, even at the risk of sounding stupid. The fourth industrial revolution is upon us, and exponential technologies stands to disrupt all industry verticals. Choice we make today will chart the trajectory of individuals, institutions, enterprise, governance, and society at large. Future demands us to be brave and bold. So let's walk together as one into this new world. A world of all-encompassing possibilities, leveraging technology, the tool that's redefining what it means to be a human. Let's challenge our traditional and linear mindset. Let's challenge the word impossible. Because if you break it down, the word itself says, I am possible. Garima Bharadwaj has been a business developer for Microsoft Dynamic Practice in the APAC region. She was among the founding team of OYO and is currently the Chief Strategist, Artificial Intelligence in the IoT head at Enlite Research.
Garima, thank you. Thank you for joining us here. It's a pleasure to have you. So, IoT. We've heard like a lot of things of internet things, but I guess in simple layman's term, would you be able to describe what IoT is and its potentials?
Yes, definitely. So it is a buzzword that we've been hearing about in India for the longest time now. AI and IoT have been glamorized a lot. But in simple terms, it is something as simple as machines talking to machines, or machines talking to human. Something as simple as an Alexa or a Google Home or a Fitbit that we wear. That is how simple IoT is to understand these days. And especially since last 1.5 years, we've seen a surge of these products grow that people use on a day-to-day basis, which just helps us understand a lot more about IoT, that it is not just another glamorous buzzword, but it is a everyday utility technology.
It's affecting everyone.
That is affecting everybody. And we know, or we might not even know, but everybody uses it on a daily basis.
Yeah, completely. So can you tell us something more about your company, Enlite Research? What are you doing with it, and what are the products that you're building?
Right. So Enlite Research is into smart building domain. So for the very long time, buildings have existed as silos. Buildings do not communicate with each other, and then again a time came where people were like, okay, we're making smart buildings. Smart buildings meant nothing but maybe having a little smarter BMS system which connect a lot of disparate systems inside a building. So we decided that we would want to do what a Google Nest did for home automation. That is the thing what we would want to do for a commercial and an enterprise level automation. So we looked at a building and demarcated it by different kind of functionalities or modules that might exist in a building. One very important part of it is energy, because a commercial building utilizes almost 40% of world's energy, and out of that 40%, 60% of it is wastage.
Right.
So one of
and nobody knows about that.
Nobody knows about it.
And we don't care, because we don't know that it's being wasted. So
and because we are not paying the bills the way that we do of our houses, but organizations have become very mindful of the energy wastage. They are looking at sustainability of future. That is one. The second part of it...
And with IoT, you're saying you can understand what the wastage is and possibly kind of maybe figure out how much you can save and stuff like that.
Exactly. So let me take up this module first. So in energy management, there were two large part of it. One was the HVAC mechanism, which in a building takes about 60% of the energy of a building. And that is where people waste maximum of the money. And the second was the lights. So we thought that for a long time in India, a lot of energy monitoring companies have existed. What can we do from there? Okay, I am going to monitor the energy, and then probably I'm going to go back to an admin or a facility manager and say that, okay, this is your usage, you do what you want with this data. That is not IoT, that is not automation. Can I help organizations do this automatically. So we build these devices which not only gauge into temperature at an occupant level, because now I need not know what is the AC temperature up there on the ceiling. I want to be comfortable where I'm sitting at. We put these devices at an occupant level. We have smart thermostats, which talks in turn to these different HVAC devices. It could be your old Windows AC, it could be ductable, it could be VRVs. And then it takes...
And I'm sorry for interrupting. So it doesn't really, matter if it's a new AC or old AC?
Absolutely. These are completely retrofitted. You could put it in greenfield projects, in brownfield projects. So no matter, even if it's a 20-year-old Windows AC, it really doesn't matter, because the solution is going to work as good as there itself. So when I put these devices, now my devices talk to each other, maintain a comfortable temperature for an occupant, and make changes accordingly. So now suddenly we're sitting in this room and the 10 more people come here, the temperature is going to go up. My devices are going to understand, because of the occupancy, the temperature has gone up, but everybody is going to feel uncomfortable. So let me bring that temperature down. So the devices are able to take that decision and the temperature comes down. Or maybe, I am the only person sitting in a very large room. I don't need so much HVACs. Where now these devices will understand all those patterns and are going to either turn off or increase the temperature. That is one important part of it, which really helps in a lot of pilferage of energy.
Exactly.
We track it on a day-to-day basis and we make changes accordingly. For example, right now, in a place like Bombay, where it's going to be raining, you need not have set points of 20 to 23 degrees. You can increase it. So what can I do? I can probably, even according to the weather forecast, tell you for next 4 days, this is what is going to be the weather forecast like. So our energy trends can be upped here. This is how we can tackle it differently. So for those next 1 or 2 months, probably I can have higher set points for everybody. Or when I know people are not going to work as per their schedules, I need not have HVACs, and I don't need a person for that anymore. My devices are going to sense that, okay, there are no people here, no HVACs are going to be used, turn it off completely. Then second part, lights. Everybody is emphasizing on, now it's not dimmable or smart lights, we are talking about human-centric lights. Lights in general affect the productivity of everybody who's sitting inside. It cannot be extremely bright, it cannot be extremely dim. It has to go in sync with the ambience that I'm sitting at. Because suddenly we're talking about a productive workspace for everybody. So now if the ambience is good outside, it's really bright, I probably might not need lights at all or very dim lights. My lights are going to sense that, because they are sensor enabled, and either they are going to brighten themselves, they are going to dim themselves, or completely turn off themselves. They are even smart enough to understand if a TV or a projector is on in a room, because the moment a projector is on, the lights are supposed to be dim. So with my solution, if you turn your projector on, the lights absolutely are auto-dimmed now. And the moment the projector or the TV is turned off, they go back to their default brightness. You're not only saving energy, but at the same time, this is a very menial manual task which was carried out before, which results in some kind of an energy wastage. So now these are the lights which operate as per schedule, as per what people would like, and as per the requirement, most importantly. That was one aspect in it. Second was space and occupancy management, because for any company which has a lot of employees, we're talking about thousands of employees here, they have a lot of real estate, and a lot of it, say around 25 to 30% of it goes for a waste on an average day. Either people don't come because they are sick, or people are feet on street, the sales people, they go out, and there's a lot of space. So why not make collaborative spaces and at the same time make them smart? So we made these devices which gauge into the real-time occupancy of the space. Now, this not only helps you see the utilization of your workspace, we are no more talking about occupancy of the space, because it is a term which is a passe. You just can't say, okay, my seat was occupied for 20% of the day. You have to talk about utilization of that seat. What if I can completely do away with those seats? What if I don't need them? That is one part of it. Second, if I want to work from home, can I go and make these bookings? Just like how we used to look at a Book My Show before. Can I make these seat bookings or not? Or then I can choose to work from home because probably there's no seat available for me there. Are there meeting rooms available? Because in a large company, you'll see people rushing for meeting rooms and seeing if it's empty, if it's not empty. Is the room already cool enough? Now, with the help of this HVAC and light module, first of all, you're turning on equipments only when there are people, only when it is required. And at the same time, you can link your energy usages with the occupancy patterns that you've had. Also, you're able to do away with any of the equipment or the real estate which is not even required, which is saving your money not only on the utilization part of energy, but also of space. And the third most interesting part which actually came from the customers was there are these facility management and housekeeping companies which take care of any corporate space. And they are the most traditional companies because they operate on large manpower. Who will clean bathrooms as per according to the schedules, who will go to the pantries, who will refill a lot of consumables on a day-to-day basis. And they have been given these set patterns, okay, from 9 o'clock to 9 o'clock, 12 times you're supposed to go to that space, make visits, go clean it or refill things, etc., which is for us a wastage of manpower. So what did we do is we thought that why not make these washrooms smart? And when we say smart, we are basically streamlining the manpower driven industry now. So can we have these sensors inside washroom which will tell you, okay, now the threshold has reached, now your janitor needs to come and do the cleaning because the threshold of the usage has reached. So a person will go and only clean then. My soaps are over, my tissues are over. I'm not going anymore on the gut feel now that, okay, because I put it at 9 o'clock, maybe I should go and check it at 5 o'clock. No, a SMS is going to be triggered because of the devices put inside these consumables now, be it a tissue box, be it a liquid dispenser, etc., and trigger a notification that, okay, now in such and such place is where it requires a refill or it requires a cleaning, etc. And by doing that, we've realized we've been able to reduce the manpower there, which is again an additional cost for the companies.
Completely.
Or you can allot them to different functions which they should be really doing. So right now we're looking at different aspects inside a building which either we could completely automate or we could streamline those legacy processes by enabling our tech and educating people and not have people intervene when there are machines already to take care of the things. People have much more important things to do inside a building. So that is what we meant by a smarter building, and these are the different kind of modules that we take care of.
Superb. I think you guys are doing some really exceptional work out there. So besides the B2B space, I mean, is there anything that you're looking at consumers?
Right now, as we speak of it, we've been looking at the lights. We are trying to make them available to the consumer space as well, because how we deal with lights in an enterprise scenario is very different. And the lights which are available right now in the market, in the B2C space, there are Bluetooth enabled lights. But again, I need to be at my house to be turning them on, to be turning them off. But my problem is when I step out of my house, then I remember that, oh, I forgot. So we are putting a different solution there. This app is not going to be modulated by Bluetooth. It is going to be by a different tech which can be remotely used. So you could be anywhere in the world. You don't even have to be in the same city or the same country. But the moment, because this tech is completely driven by cloud, the moment you're making changes here is how the equipments in your house are operating. Because that is a very big space. People think that if you're sitting inside the house, maybe you should set the thermostat, then maybe that is the kind of lights that you would want at that point. But we forget that our problems also come from when we step outside the house. Have I locked my house? Have I turned off the gas? Have I turned off the lights? Have I turned off the refrigerator? So we realized that, we should roll out, because the tech that we are using right now is not Bluetooth. It is a different tech, which completely, as I told you, operates as per the cloud. So it is all remote management. You could be sitting here and looking at your building in USA, in Malaysia, anywhere, and not just looking at it. You can be controlling it. That is what the platform is enabling you. So we are looking at least to start with lights, to make these solutions available for people who can now remotely control them, just not observe things. So this is what we're looking at as a company. But apart from that, the B2C space is just getting more and more interesting with so many products available in the IoT domain right now to people. People are getting spoiled for choices right out there.
So with this IoT space, what's the solution, a product that you've come across and you're like really mind blown by it, and you said, oh, this is really cool, which has got a real world use case right now in solving problems? Do you think there is products or solutions like that besides you guys who are like really up there? And is anybody looking at IoT for social good?
So I know at least of a few healthcare companies finally in India. For a very long time, people have been talking about IoT in healthcare. Now, if you look at a diaspora of India, where most of the people are in rural India, healthcare becomes very expensive and inaccessible. So some of the pharmacy companies, what they have done is that they have developed these wearable devices, which they send to rural India. And we know that the doctor count and the hospital count is really low in our country, and especially in rural India. So they send these devices, and for some generic diseases, these wearables are able to give that data to the doctors sitting elsewhere, that okay, the person could be diagnosed by this and this, and hence they are able to prescribe medicines now to these people in rural India. And the great enabler for that change has been the pharmacy companies. Because their distribution has been really strong. They have reached till rural India. A hospital might not be built there, but still there'll be a lot of feet on street which go there. So there are a bunch of companies in India which are experimenting with this. And in fact, there's another company which has made a device, which is again an IoT device. It has a 2G SIM enabled workability, and it is sent only to rural India, and they send a lot of test kits along with it, which are like disposable test kits. Once they are sent to rural India, people just go there, they are able to self-prick with a drop of blood, and the diagnosis is sent to the hospitals back in the cities, and they are able to actually provide diagnosis of things like AIDS, TB. We're just not talking about a normal viral fever, etc. So this company, it's been actually into existence for last 7-8 years, but it's only last year that they started working with the government of India, with the Indian Council of Medical Research, etc., which I think is going to add a lot of value, because we have really overlooked this part in our country. We've urbanized way too much, and we know too much about IoT and helping our everyday lives. But now there are companies who are actually trying to be there for good of people. They are doing this. Then there are some agricultural IoT startups as well, who are telling people about the conditions of the soil, doing an overview of what kind of crop should be put, how they should be put, and they have drones out there which go inspect the entire space and help with data, with probably which could be used by people who are farmers or who are out there in the field doing these tasks. So there are some of them who are trying to actually help the people who have never got access to a healthcare before, to a agricultural tech before, or to a fintech before. There are actually companies out there and now trying to enable these people to also embark on this curve of the new tech or the emerging tech that we're talking about.
So yes, I mean, obviously it's got these like tremendous, I mean, really nice, good use cases. With technology, it's a double-edged sword. It's also got like, I mean, it can it's got bad use cases too. I mean, like IoT is capturing all the data. And it's estimated by around 24 billion connected devices everything's gonna be connected by around the year 2020. So, what is the impact when everything is going to be connected? All our data is going to be captured. What do you think is going to be the impact on a normal human being? When everything is being monitored. All of our data is being captured.
So I think it has its pros and cons. So if we start about a very simple thing like an activity tracker, which every 4th or the 5th person has it now. So it has kind of empowered people who are using it. Because before, I would never have the data about myself. I would not know how many steps I have walked. I would not know how much calorie I would have consumed. I would not know what have I eaten, what should I eat, not eat, how much have I slept, am I sleeping well enough. It was just a normal procedure and nobody really thought about it. Now I'm getting too much data about myself, which has made me really mindful that, okay, I've probably not walked 10,000 steps today. Let me do a little more. It's good for my health. Let me consume things which is more conscious food, which has given rise to actually the conscious food, so-called these days. So people have become very mindful about their own lives. But of course, when we talk about all these amazing use cases, all these fanciful things which exist, privacy is a very, very big thing. So we work out of enterprise field, right? That is where our implementations are in. We work in companies that are so specific about the kind of privacy concerns that they have certain cabins in which other people are not allowed access into. We're talking about these kind of things. And suddenly now there is too much data being flown from here to there and everything is operating on the cloud, which at times confuses people. They're like, you know what, but data is like data is the need of the hour. It's the most important thing to me. That's what my company is built on. What if you compromise on that? Or even when we talk about personal data, like we've seen a lot of social media companies compromising on people's data, etc. So at the same time, it becomes very important as a company in the IoT space to keep that as priority one. That you cannot compromise on people's data. You can have either binary data in enterprises like 0 and 1 and not individually be tracking people or individually be tracking what people are doing, not doing, because that, according to us as a company, is a very unethical practice. If I have allowed my activity tracker to track me, I am enabling and empowering myself, but do I want other people to be selling it to other companies who might be requiring it? That should not be a practice, which is not a good practice in itself. So at least as a company, also we've decided that we will never be compromising on people's privacy. At the end of the day, you're an employee when you go inside at 9 o'clock and till 5 o'clock. But when you step outside, you should not be tracked. Which is where there are a lot of companies and organizations which ask us for that kind of tracking also. It's not a very difficult thing to do, but we would not want to do it. Or there are other concerns. Companies are sharing important data with other companies. You would not want that to be compromised. So it's very important and mindful to know that these organizations or these companies, the kind of, or these individuals, whatever data they want should be limited to that. It should not be compromised in any format, because everybody in IoT wants to do the next big thing. And IoT is driven by immense data points that are flowing around. Us today. So that is what makes IoT IoT. That is what enhances its capabilities. That is what makes it intelligent. So probably you can use it internally, consume it, and see that, how can you make your devices much smarter? How can you help people with better and smarter decisions? But should you be compromising on their privacy? Probably no.
Yeah, exactly. But see, as an organization, maybe you think like that, where you shouldn't be like capturing data and maybe using it, selling it, but there are obviously other organizations there are these social media platforms which have been doing that in a big way. So do you think there is a need for a law to come in where we look at maybe framing guidelines? Because at this point in time, like you say, any of the technology, if you see, right from your AI to blockchain to IoT, it all depends upon data capture. Data is the need of the day. That's the only way you better your solutions. So is there a need of some regulatory body to be built, and is that missing today?
I totally agree with you on that, because a lot of things have been very unfragmented and just very unchannelized. And as users, whether it be of any device that we're using, a social media platform, and specifically app, we never read what is written on those lines, on those pages. We just tend to agree with everything that is there. And it has got, apps have got eavesdropping.
Right.
They are reading into your phones, right? There are devices which are tracking more than they're supposed to.
Right.
There are cases of Alexa eavesdropping on people, right? That is what it has come to. But, and of course, we know of the social media giant, which utilizes and sells the data like nobody else, right? And there have to be regulations in place because of that. Because what if I don't agree to your marketing gimmicks? I don't want my numbers, my lifestyle, where am I going, which SEC do I fall into? I don't want to share it with somebody. It has to be based on my whims and fancies and not yours. I am the holder of that as an individual. You have not taken my permissions. You've probably given me a 10-pager agreement, which I'm never going to read. I'm going to agree to everything because I'm in a hurry of installing that app. But that is where we really need to have these regulations in place, because at least you and I are talking about it. With the internet penetration, we're talking about a huge cohort which has no idea about all of this. They will be sold things at some point which they do not need. They don't have clue about. But they're going to be the ones who are going to add to the revenue of those companies. Which is going to be a shame at the end of the day, because this technology was supposed to better everybody's life. It was supposed to educate these people. And we're talking about this 65% of the next gen of people who have got into the internet in last 1 year or 2 years, and they're consuming it. They're still getting the hang of it. But suddenly, you have made them very vulnerable. Because they are exposed now, and they will never talk about privacy issues, not because they don't want to, because they don't know about it. And we really need to have these checks into place for keeping these giants and mammoths who are trying to, eat up on these people's data and make them as their next revenue stream or data points. So it becomes very, very important that we need to have some regulatory mechanisms there, because there are very few people, if you will see around you or if I will see, who understand these things, who will know, okay, this is where to draw a line, so probably I'm not going to use this. But those people are so less and few. So it just becomes so imperative that we really, as a country now, probably should be looking at just not free internet. We should be looking at more of free regulated internet and be able to educate people that this is where you need to draw a line. Because now these are going to be marketing gimmicks now, where people will try to sell everything to you and you will not know.
Exactly. All the brands are vying for your attention, and I hope that there's like a data ownership comes into play, because just a couple of days back I was watching this podcast, Joe Rogan's podcast, and it seems there was this person who had kept his phone besides him, and he was having a conversation about how he wanted to buy this product. And it seems in a minute he gets this SMS from the product which he was supposed to purchase, and the message says that I can give you a discount. So so these brands, I think there needs to be definitely a law which kind of says that these are the things which you cannot do. But because, I mean, like you rightfully said, nobody's going to go through the 10-page term sheet when you download an app. So data privacy, because we're talking about humanizing technology. This word of humanizing technology is everywhere. But as an organization or a startup, when you're trying to build something, I guess we forget that, because we are in awe of the technology and trying to build something. And obviously we're looking at the monetization opportunity, and those are great monetization opportunities, undeniable, but we cannot cross lines. So, at this point in time, almost all the enterprises are talking about digital enabling, digital disruption. But are they slow at adopting or digitizing? Because it's estimated, there's this data which I read online, that around 40% of Fortune 500 companies globally are going to go out of business because they are maybe not foreseeing the future. So what are your views on that?
So, people, at least in our country, have been a little resistant of
Right,
that change because they've always feared that is tech going to take people's job?
Right.
Is it going to replace me?
Right.
If people become a little more open about it, they have to just realize that tech is our assistant
Right.
at the end of the day.
Right.
It is helping you to do the same work smoother, better, and faster. And even when we meet a lot of large organizations, what is surprising to see is that understanding. People are talking about digital scenarios and digital ways of looking out at things and how organizations could be using it. But so as to say, it's still very, very limited. They probably confuse that with either digital marketing or putting up some bots on the sites and just limiting it there. Even if we talk about something like bots, a lot of companies have people chatting with you on the bots. A few of those sentences might be automated, and after that, there'll be a human talking to you. But why is it needed? You've had that scenario for the longest time. You have all the knowledge base. Let a bot take care of it. A bot is now capable of understanding emotions, problems, and responding. And still, if needed, let people take care of it at the most escalation phase, but not before that. Or even what we are trying to do, say with the facility management company, can I ever replace your janitors? No, there is not going to be a flying mop there which will go and auto clean. I'm just helping them do their work better and when it is required. You don't have to have schedule based activities. You need to have more proactive activities now, but people have like kind of had a very myopic view on it when it comes to tech. There are a few people who know a lot about it, but they are very few. And then there's a large cohort of people who are like, this is too much tech, probably maybe I don't want to understand it, or it's too high level for me to understand, or maybe, no, this is not my job to be doing it. But any company who right now is not taking this tech, acquiring it in their day-to-day lives and functionalities is going to lag behind. Because in 2 years, there will be some other companies who would have realized the importance of this technology in their day-to-day functionalities and different verticals on how people are functioning and would have raced far ahead. And now the problem is, it's not like how the world was 20 years back, that if a company works, somebody else is going to take a lot of time and reach there. You're either running fast or you're dying. That is what technology has done to us.
Exactly.
It is changing every month. Every quarter, you will see a very different product come into picture and you'd be like amazed. You'd be like, wow, I wouldn't have thought about it. And if you would have been somebody very open with the idea of experimenting, then you would have definitely reached a point. There are certain companies in India, a lot of banks that we see who are doing hackathons, who are acquiring fintech companies because they know where the future lies. But if you have let go of that opportunity today, probably it is already very late to reach at a certain point.
Completely. Yeah, and at this point in time, I guess technology is no longer on a linear path. It's on an exponential space. It's disrupting all possible industries. So, you started as a business developer and right now you're into future tech, you're a strategist, AI, IoT strategist. So what's been your experience, from there till now? How do businesses react? What's your views on that? When adopting these kind of technologies, AI and IoT?
Yeah, so when I started out, it was a very different domain that we were talking about. It was real estate, and people understand that because these are things that we've seen around us, we've known around us, and we're talking about revenues and acquisition costs. So it's easy to understand. When I started with the IoT company, the thing was that everybody, I would tell that, okay, I work in IoT space, they'd be like, oh, wow, it's a great place to be at. But the sad part is that nobody understood what I'm doing, what I'm trying to do. And when I would go to organizations, some of them thought that this is a very, very fancy thing, straight out from a Hollywood movie. So they would ask me for solutions which would make me feel like that I'm not a director of a Marvel movie. Please don't ask for these solutions. They don't exist. You don't need them.
Right.
And that is how people had imagined of IoT. That, probably suddenly there's going to be a screen in front of you which you're going to be swiping left and right, and it's going to be changing. It's going to be a Jarvis at your call. But no, that's not IoT for you.
Right.
It is very different. So initially, making them understand that the solutions that you're asking for, you don't need. Just because tech exists, you don't need to make a solution.
Yeah.
Make a solution for a larger picture.
Right.
So then I had to explain to these companies, okay, let's talk about how my solution can add value to your top line.
Right.
How probably can it help you reduce the losses that you're incurring? Then it actually comes down to that, if I use my solution, maybe it will have an impact on your energy utilization.
Right.
Maybe you can reduce your real estate, or maybe, you can have a more optimized manpower there. So everybody has to be explained into the problem mindset that they understand. Because if I'm going to say that I come from this IoT space, I make buildings smart, this is what I do, very jazzy, thanks, we don't need you. So I have to sit with people from different domains and ask them that what are the problems in your vertical that you face, which are impacting either your people, their productivity, or the revenues of the company. When they tell me a problem, then I can find a solution to it in a tech way. So this is how actually as a company where we've been successful is finding out with these people, sitting with them, identifying the real problems, because a company will only have so many problems on a day-to-day basis which impacts the larger organization. It cannot be definitely watering the plants in the organization. That's not a problem. We've been asked a solution to that as well. But okay, these are the real problems. Can my tech enable or solve these problems without actually hampering any of the processes which happen? And at the same time, will it impact your revenue in any form? People do understand those things. So I think I have taken a leaf from my business development days where I can understand the revenue and the P&L and the top line, bottom line, and integrated it with selling of tech solutions, because let's sell to people what they understand. Let's not make it very fanciful.
Right, completely. So I'll just go back to your earlier answer. You mentioned that tech is not going to take away jobs, but at this point in time, the data says otherwise, because it's not just IoT, AI, automation, automated cars, and so on and so forth. And with IoT, you're taking away all the data. Eventually, the data is going to get so smart that it will take humans out of the picture, right? The human workforce out of the picture. What are your views on that? And do you think we need to possibly look at that and kind of figure out a way? Because there's already, governments are talking about UBI, Universal Basic Income. Though maybe it's a little far out in the future where the machines will kind of like take over our jobs eventually, because that's an inevitability with the technology. Do you see something like this happening, or you don't see something like this happening at all? Machines are not going to take up jobs. If you see something like this happening, what are the solutions besides AI? Is this, UBI? Is there anything else that we need to look at?
So one very important thing which people have probably not thought about right now, we've been very binary in our approach, tech or no tech, jobs or no jobs. What are you doing with all this data? As an enterprise, as an individual, let's talk about enterprises and corporates, because that is where it's more relevant. So you can't just have this data, have your platform do the machine learning, do the artificial intelligence. Now, there were people before that doing those jobs who probably were not skilled enough to do those jobs. Their work was go, turn on a device, turn off a device, clean a washroom, turn on the BMS, turn off the fan, etc. Can I use this data for their skill set? Because one thing is for sure, when we say it's going to take job, it's going to do that because those people will become irrelevant. Right now, we will not have somebody, if I don't have somebody in a building turning on and turning off the HVAC, and before that I used to have a dedicated person for doing that, that person is definitely going to lose the job. If there were 100 people sitting and doing chatting on various windows on a chatbot, but now a chatbot is going to come into the picture and help solve the problem there itself, maybe 40% people will not be needed. And again, we are talking about people from BPOs, we are talking about people from the housekeeping industry and all. Anybody who was less on the skill set is going to become irrelevant. So as an industry, what is very important, which we see happening and what we try to do is that enhance the skill set of these people. If they do not enhance what they have already known, or if they are not open enough to future ready, they are going to become irrelevant, and then definitely 40% of the people are going to lose their jobs, and mostly it will be either the blue collared workers, it will be a lot of junior level or mid level management people who have not been open to this idea, because tech is not eating up your job. It is you who was not able to up yourself enough to flow with that tech and to be future ready, because right now what we're building, it's going to stay relevant for next few years. And if you've not upped your mark here, it is no way in which you can be doing something else 2 years down the line, because there is a paradigm shift happening year on year. The data entry jobs are gone. The blue collar jobs are being affected. There are so many things coming into the picture because of the tech format, that few jobs which existed just a couple of years back are unheard of. And now we're talking about coders, we're talking about people making IoT, people, the data scientists and whatnot. So what are you going to do at the end of the day? I'm going to remove probably 2 watchmen and put a facial recognition camera there. That might do a better job. So either people have to be open at management level to learn those things, and at the same time, the people who have been doing some menial or manual works there, I think their skill development becomes very, very important. Otherwise, they will not know what to do after a point.
Completely. So do you think that as an entrepreneur, I see that opportunity, because I see that there's going to be millions possibly who's going to be jobless, and maybe there has to be something where we can build to reskill those people, and then maybe, you can make a better world. I mean, at least, because you don't want these people sitting at home, right?
Absolutely.
So tell me, as a woman, how's your entrepreneurial journey been? And what are the challenges that you have faced so far?
So actually, I would say this is something which has been asked to me a few times, because I've been in very different industries. I've been in like a real estate / hospitality industry as like one of the first few members. Then I've been in a FMCG industry, and now I'm in IoT. But I would say for me, it has been really good. I mostly, at the end of the day, it's very ironical, I have ended up working with more or major male counterparts or colleagues or clients or customers than women. But somehow I've never felt that biased. In fact, what is interesting is that they take a lot of interest in my journey, where it has come from, especially when it was hospitality or real estate, where you will see more men than anybody else. So me going and making those deals and negotiating and explaining them how it's going to work, how our thing is just going to change the face of hospitality in next 5 years, they would be amused. And they would actually ask me, okay, you're an engineer by profession or an MBA by profession. Why did you choose this industry? Women don't come into this industry. I was like, because it's of my interest, and I think we're building out something which has never existed before. Or even currently, when I meet people, so at a lot of management level, I end to meet very senior fellow male members who are just amazed, who are like that probably, okay, it's interesting to hear all this from you, because we don't come across a lot of women folk, and they listen to my journey, what I've done in the past, what I'm doing, and they're just happy. And I would say it's been very supportive through and through.
Nice, lovely. So technology is an exponential space, right? India is going to be impacted, disrupted by all of these technologies. So, what do you think are the 2 or 3 technologies which is really going to play a crucial role in shaping India's future? And as an enterprise or consumer, something that we should look at. So, what do you think of this?
So artificial intelligence is something extremely important to any organization which exists, because they've been working for a really long amount of years now. There have been certain things which have been a run of the mill, the same rut it has been happening, but it's no more going to be like that. You can look, for example, at your shopping experience now online. When you go to Amazon, the recommendation that Amazon gives you, or when you're listening to music on Spotify, the amazing algorithms, the next song that it throws at you is just commendable. And that is because those algorithms are learning more every day. The kind of assistance that we are getting by technologies as a consumer, it's just getting so amazing. It's like having a person next to you telling, okay, this is the next best thing for you. Listen to this. Hear this, watch this, buy this. It's never been like that before.
Completely.
And suddenly, I don't need friends to tell me what do I watch on Netflix. Now, this is such, when we think of it, it's such a normal thing. But do we know what is happening at the back end? The crazy amount of work that goes into building those algorithms to learn something new every day. And it's learning me better and better as a person. Probably at times when Amazon gives me that, okay, buy this, I'm like, wow, I didn't think of this, but yes, I do need it, right? So my experience as an individual, it's just getting so enhanced. If you look at, for example, even a hospitality industry, they are embarking on tech. There, Marriott in Europe and in US, they have gone so personalized that if I have been their guest before, stayed in their property, the moment I go inside and I am going to get that, okay, your room number is this, and because last time the temperature set in your room was 25 degrees, it's already prepared. Because I have just walked into their hotel, their beacons have sensed me getting inside, and now suddenly they are showering me with all these amazing deals on their spas, on their dining, etc. And I will not mind it because I am expecting something more as their privileged customer. And they are making my journey personalized. Now, it is not about just an online shopping experience, it's about a personalized experience. So as a company, can you give me that experience? It's just going to add a lot of value. And similarly for the corporates, it's just not about their ROIs, their top or bottom lines. It's also about, as an employee, how am I feeling like working in that organization? Does my organization understand me? At least, is it a productive environment to be working in? There are some basic things that had to be taken care of, which a lot of companies are now looking at. One part of it is that you're an organization, I am definitely adding a lot of value to you by my tech, but am I making your employees' life easier? Am I making your life easier in the kind of work that you used to do before? Have I provided your employees with a tech which has just glided them into something else rather than spending hours on it? So it's just, it is a combination of IoT, it is a combination of machine learning, it is a combination of artificial intelligence, and now you can see them no more in silos. They are not different technologies. At the end of the day, everything is merging.
Converging,
because you can't just make, if I talk about IoT, it's no more about my machine is talking to your machine. Machines have to talk to me. Machines have to talk to you to help them make a decision. And that is what an AI is going to do. Machines are going to talk, but AI is going to understand their language and enable better decisions coming from those machines, make them more productive and proactive and predictive. And so is machine learning. And we are seeing that happening. So I think these technology, they are just going to get more and more rampant, and we will see them probably everywhere around us without even knowing.
Everywhere around us without even knowing. So that's like a very cool statement. I guess that's where we're going with connected devices. I think it's going to be like all trillions of possibly devices, everything is going to be connected. So Ray Kurzweil has this view that, I mean, eventually, we started with digitizing, like selling everything over the net. Who would have guessed, I mean, possibly 20 years back that, a phone will enable you to buy everything. I mean, it was just one clunky, chunky box. Right now, it can, a digital device, I mean, not just a phone, anything digital, you can just buy anything, right? Your sofas, your underwears, your anything, and you can never get lost. I mean, this full paradigm, everything is getting digitized. Do you see a world where eventually maybe a human will also get digitized, because there are people like Brian Johnson with Colonel Elon Musk, who's spearheading Neuralink, who's talking about this future which is coming, where there's going to be, to deal with the future and with humans to not get redundant, maybe you'll have to possibly digitize ourselves. When I mean digitize, maybe like a microchip which augments a human being, and then what Ray Kurzweil said is like a hive mind, where that could be the only way out for us to not being redundant, because I'm talking about maybe like a 20 years, 30 years period down the line or more, but this seems like an eventuality. Do you think all of these IoT and everything is possibly push driving that conversation? And do you see that future happening where maybe a human will be, because in all fairness, I mean, the only way for a human to move forward is motion, and to motion is acquiring more knowledge. If you're static, nothing's moving, right? With machines getting intelligent, maybe sentient someday, to keep us in pace with the machines, do you think that's a possibility where we would maybe get, because everything's going to be connected?
Right.
Do you see a future like that?
We are actually slowly moving towards that. We don't realize these things on a day-to-day basis.
Right.
We used to have very different phones, as you correctly said, 10 years back, which were just used for messaging, taking calls or playing Snake.
Right.
These were the three things on the phone. And now my phone, I can't be without my phone. I'm just not shopping there.
Right.
Talking has become one aspect of it.
Right.
I am chatting. I am traveling a whole different world when I'm on my phone, because I'm just connected to everybody worldwide.
Consuming content.
I'm consuming so much content from everywhere. I need to commute somewhere and I need my phone for that. My entire life revolves around my phone. And that is why, it gets so panicky when you suddenly don't have it with you. But these smartphones, they are enabling you towards a very different world, a world which did not exist 10 years back. This ecosystem of all the apps and the tech that we have around us, it never existed. And what you're right about is that these are fueling our change as people. Now you no more can say that, okay, you know what, let things change around me. I am going to remain the same because probably I am not interested in that so much of technicalities. I'm not interested in so much digitization. But that's the thing. Who are you going to remain after all of that? And if you are going to, you are of course going to get defunct. After a point in time. So I totally agree to that in fact, a lot of people in the West have gone a notch ahead, where they have got some chips ingrained inside themselves.
is being one of them.
Right. So, because they don't want any cards or phones on them also now. They are completely enabled to be accessing doors, to be booking cabs, to be looking at the GPS. These are still experiments, but where I'm coming from, I'm just trying to say that there will be, every year, there are going to be different digital paradigm shift, which we will adopt to as people, as consumers, as individuals. And if we do not, it will get very difficult for somebody who does not go by their wave. Because if the entire industry is going through a shift, you cannot be somebody sitting like a frog in the well and say that, okay, it is so hunky-dory for all of you, you go out, do it, I'm not interested. You're going to become really irrelevant in your daily lives, in your professional lives. So everybody is going to be a more and more digitized and an informed version of themselves. Because people think that it's scary that, oh, humans are becoming digital. No, we are becoming more informed.
Exactly.
It is up to us, what do we want to use from it?
Right.
But it is empowering us as people. It is helping us in every aspect of our life now.
Right, completely. Yes, I mean, it's helping us. I mean, it's augmenting us. A phone, I mean, we cannot do with a phone. So, completely agree with you. So, any advice to these budding entrepreneurs or startups who want to understand or delve into IoT?
Probably what everybody should do is that look at a lot of real world problems which exist. Do not look at a end product. Okay, you know, this product sounds great, amazing, IoT enabled, let me make that. No. Look at real world problems around you. It could be something from your daily life, a consumer enabled problem, an agricultural problem. It could be any problem. Once you figure out that problem, now don't solve it in a traditional way. Now you use all these amazing technology available so easily. Use IoT and AI and make these solutions. Because half of the companies, or more than half of the companies are in IoT die because they make really fancy stuff which people do not need.
Right.
There have been a lot of companies globally, just not in India, which have made a lot of devices, they've made products, they've made technologies, but either they're too far ahead of their times or there has been no requirement from them. So look at problems around you. There are so many day-to-day problems that we have. Can you either solve it because they don't have a solution, or can you solve it better with these technologies? Because the technology that has been solving those problems also is getting slowly old. It's getting more legacy now. So solve those problems which exist. Don't make pillows to tell you how much do you have to sleep. Solve real problems, because that is what gives you a mass market as well.
Completely.
Which is very, very important. So I think anybody who understands building business and technology would be able to add a lot of value when they make a company, because you have to understand where the buck also lies.
Right.
Don't make something because you think it's very fanciful and it's just there. Let's not make it a Black Mirror kind of or Jarvis kind of a thing. Let's make things which people will use on a daily basis or a corporate can use on a daily basis. So solve problems or help people help people to solve problems by enabling them by your technology.
Right. Lovely. I guess on that note, I think we should end over here. So, pleasure having you, Garima. Thank you for sharing all your insights. It was lovely talking to you. So, yes, I think, tech, I think it's come to a point where the larger people, the techies behind creating products and solutions is, I think, in awe with these technology, and I think trying to do something maybe too futuristic. I know that that's possible, and as a creator, I'm sure you have the desire to do something which really solves that big problem. But I guess we need to go one step at a time and solve the current problems. And I guess once we do that, maybe we'll get to that goal later. So I guess, yes, like Garima rightly said, we need to solve the real world problem. And on that note, we'll take leave. Thank you for joining us. It was a pleasure having you guys. And we're going to have all the details of Garima below, her social platform links, where if you guys want to get in touch with Garima and interact with her, take some advice from her, yes, please, you can reach out to her. And if you like what you see, like what you hear, please press the subscribe button. See you guys next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.